Khamzat Chimaev is going to be fighting this weekend, and I'm actually looking forward to it. Obviously, he's taken a long time out of competition because of the fact that he caught COVID. So recently, a lot of people have just been there's been this sense of anticipation of when he's going to come back, and thankfully he's going to be coming back soon. So this weekend we're going to watch him fight. His opponent, just to clarify, I think he's ranked 11th in the rankings, and I actually think Khamzat is actually going up against a sturdy test here. Recently he's been literally destroying everyone that he's been going in against. It's not been the highest level of opposition, but the way he's been doing it has been looking quite impressive. Obviously his opponent's Li Jinglang. He's somewhat of a veteran in the sport, like he's been around a little bit, and he's been in the UFC for a bit of time. He looks like he's very game, and to some extent the fact that this might sound nonsensical, but the fact that there's a bit of a language barrier between him and Khamzat and just the Western media in general, it might actually play in Li Jinglang's hand, because the fact is he's not going to fall for the hype as much as a fighter that understands the Western media more will fall for it. Because the fact is, like, when you've been hearing about all the praise that Khamzat Chimaev's been getting recently, a normal fighter would probably fall under the pressure of understanding that they're going up there against a fighter that a lot of people think is special. So in terms of my opinion on Khamzat Chimaev, I think there's either two ways that this can absolutely go. Either he's an absolute hype job and he's a complete fraud, and he's nowhere near as good as people are making him out to be, the likes of Dana White and the UFC and all of that, or he's 100% the man. Like, there's nothing in between. Like, he could be a decent fighter, but the way he's been looking recently, he's been blowing opponents out, and a lot of people have been saying this guy's the truth. Obviously he was going to fight Leon Edwards, and I think a fight between him and Leon Edwards would have really shown how good Khamzat Chimaev is. But this fight against Li Jingliang, I think is a very good test for him. Now, in my opinion, Khamzat Chimaev, when you look at him, the fighter that he reminds me of the most, obviously in terms of his style, is Khabib. He does employ a lot of tactics that Khabib uses, and obviously there's a lot of comparisons between the two for a reason, because they do look, he's very Khabib-esque, the way he wrestles his opponents and his ground and pound, and the way he manages to get his opponent up against the cage and completely dominate them on the ground. But I feel like in terms of the hype that surrounds him and the attitude that he has and the way he carries himself, he does kind of remind me of a young Conor McGregor. Now, don't get it twisted, he doesn't have the same level of charisma that Conor McGregor has in terms of his trash talk and the way he was coming up, and he didn't have, like, obviously Conor McGregor had this huge following, and I think Khamzat Chimaev does have a bit of a following, but the fact is Khamzat Chimaev is like from so many different places. Like, he's a bit like Lennox Lewis. If you look at Lennox Lewis, he fights out of Sweden, Stockholm, Sweden. He's been seen to be training with Gustafsson. On top of that, he's Russian as well. So he's born in Russia, he's born in Chechnya, and he immigrated to Sweden. So he's probably not going to have he's going to have the Russians behind him to some extent, but it's not going to be the same as Conor McGregor, who had the Irish behind him. But in terms of his brash attitude and the way he carries himself, he does kind of remind me of a bit of Conor McGregor. He doesn't have the charisma in terms of his speaking ability, the way he talks, but just the way he carries himself, I could kind of see it a bit in him. He definitely doesn't carry himself the way Khabib does. So yeah, that's just my opinion. I think this is a good test for him. It's not too dangerous, but his opponent is a decent fighter. His last opponents, some of them have been old, some of them have been a bit inexperienced, some of them have, although they're in the UFC, they've not been that good. But this opponent, I think, is a very sturdy test for him, and I'm actually looking forward to it. A lot of people have said that they're anticipating that this is going to be a very good fight, and they think literally this is going to be it's either going to be a coming out party for Khamzat Chimaev, or he's going to look a bit off. But a lot of people are anticipating this more than they're anticipating the actual main event, which actually does say a lot about him. So yeah, just from that perspective, I just think it's going to be interesting to see how Khamzat Chimaev deals with this level of opponent. if he blows him out of there the way he did his last opponent, wow, that is a bit of a statement, because his opponent that he's fighting now is I'm not gonna say he's elite. He's not the top 5 or top 10 of the welterweight division, but I would say that he's a good sturdy test for a prospect who's only had 9 fights and who's got a lot of hype around him. So I hope we get a lot of questions answered, and in my opinion, I feel like Khamzat, in terms of his promotion and the way he carries himself, he's like a mix between a Khabib and a Conor McGregor. Whether he accomplishes as much as them two, it remains to be seen, but in terms of everything that he's done with his career so far, I think he's not put a step wrong, at least in the octagon. So that's just my opinion. Tell me your opinion below, and like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.